Next matchup, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, who are 8-7, taking on the 9-6 Indianapolis Colts. This game is going to kick off 1 p.m. Eastern time on Fox. Indianapolis is a 6-point favorite going into this game. Now, first of all, before I get into the analysis and my preview of this game, I want to say RIP Coach John Madden. He recently passed away. Hall of Fame coach, one of the greatest broadcasters ever. RIP. Condolences to his family, friends, and Raider Nation, and everybody that loved John Madden. RIP, rest in paradise, John Madden. Las Vegas somehow has found the way to keep their season alive. And it's crazy because a couple of weeks ago, after they lost to Washington, I thought that was going to be it for the Raiders, because every season over the last 2 years, it feels like the Raiders start the season out really high and then they end up finishing the season really low. And you look at all of the turmoil that has went on with the Raiders this year, I am really surprised that they still are in contention of making the playoffs. Now, they do need a little bit of help, but if they're able to win this game, you become really close to ending up squaring off with the Chargers next week. And that Chargers matchup next week could end up being winner go home. Winner wins, gets in the playoffs. Loser ends up going into the offseason with no postseason. So this is a really big game for the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm impressed at the fact that they're still able to be in the contention that they are. Like, this is a resilient Raiders team, and I haven't really said that about the Las Vegas Raiders in some time, but this team is really resilient. Like, they fight hard, and I'm really impressed of how they performed as of late. Now, you look at Indianapolis, which is one of the hottest teams in the NFL. You got running back Jonathan Taylor, who probably is second in the MVP conversation right now behind Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He has been stellar all year, and they're probably going to lean on him even more in this game because Carson Wentz, we don't really know the status of him going into this matchup. He was recently put on the COVID-19/injury reserve list. Now, we don't know if he tested positive for COVID or if he was in close contact with somebody who did test positive. So if you're a Colts fan, you're probably going to ask, okay, if Carson Wentz doesn't play in this game, JT, what is going to be the game plan and the strategy for Indianapolis and Frank Reich offensively? Well, I don't really think nothing really changes all that much, because regardless if Carson Wentz plays or not, you're still going to run the ball the majority of the time. So you're still going to give Jonathan Taylor a heavy workload. He's probably going to have around 27 to probably 33 touches in this game. And then you look at Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger, we haven't really seen him much in the regular season. We did see a good amount of him in the preseason. He's a really good athlete. He's really big. He has great size. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see Frank Reich call up a couple of design quarterback runs, maybe a quarterback power, quarterback draw up the middle, probably run some read option concepts in there. So you're going to see a lot of Sam Ehlinger using his mobility. He's not really that great of a passer. He doesn't have great accuracy downfield, and he doesn't really have the strongest arm neither. So if you're the Raiders, you're probably going to say, okay, should we stack the box? Should we not stack the box? Like, it doesn't really matter, because I know a lot of Raiders fans are going to say, all we got to do is stack the box and we're going to win this game. That's not going to be true, because if that's the case, you know how many teams have been trying to stack the box against the Indianapolis Colts all year, trying to slow down Jonathan Taylor, and hasn't worked. So I don't want to see no Raiders fans telling me that, oh, we're going to shut down Jonathan Taylor in the Colts run game because all we're going to do is stack the box. Every team has done it all season, and it hasn't worked yet. I'm just saying, I doubt you're going to be the team to do it. On top of that, the Raiders defense has been 19th in the league in rushing yards per game allowed, which isn't bad. You know, they're in the middle of the pack, but I'm not expecting the Raiders defense to come out here and completely neutralize the rushing attack of Indianapolis. However, you can make things difficult for Indianapolis by putting them in more obvious passing situations, because one thing about Indianapolis and why they're so effective offensively is because when you have a team that likes to run the football, football, the majority of the times they're winning on first and second down. And when it comes to third down, they're in third and short situations. They never find themselves in any situations longer than 3rd and 5, which still gives them the ability to either run the football or pass, so the defense doesn't really know what's coming. For the Raiders, you have to make sure that you're able to win on first down, and you have to be able to make sure that you put the Colts in a situation where they have to throw the football to beat you on third down. Another way for the Raiders to slow down this rushing attack of Indianapolis is if they're able to get out to a big lead early. If Indianapolis finds themselves down, let's say 28-3 at halftime, then that's going to make Indianapolis have to throw the football more to get back into the game, and they're going to have to rely on Sam Ehlinger more. So for the Raiders defensively, your game plan has to be trying to find a way to force Indianapolis to get Sam Ehlinger to throw the football. On top of that, once you get Sam Ehlinger throwing the football, then you can start throwing out a lot of exotic looks, trying to confuse him, similar to what the Miami Dolphins did this past Monday night against the Saints with quarterback Ian Book, who was a rookie out of Notre Dame. They threw a lot of looks at him. He had a hard time pre-snap trying to figure out what was coming. So if you're able to put Indianapolis in a situation where they have to heavily rely on Sam Ehlinger to beat you through the air, then that's going to be an added bonus for you. Another thing is probably you want to try to double team Michael Pittman. Michael Pittman has been the most reliable option in the passing game. Now, if Carson Wentz plays, then it probably won't matter. But I feel like with Sam Ehlinger, the safety blanket is going to be Michael Pittman. He's probably going to look to target him a lot in this game. So if you're able to take Michael Pittman out of this game and you force the Colts to have to find other weapons in the passing game, I definitely feel like that's going to be an added bonus. Now, for the Raiders offensively, their offense has not been good. As a matter of fact, they haven't scored more than 20 points in a game since they defeated the Dallas Cowboys a couple of weeks ago in November. So a lot of their games have came down to playing great defense and being in one possession games. Now, Josh Jacobs had his best game of the season against the Denver Broncos last week. He had 27 carries for 127 rushing yards, 4.8 yards per attempt. And I've been saying this all season with the Las Vegas Raiders. Run the football with Josh Jacobs. There is no reason why Josh Jacobs should be getting anything less than 20 touches. As a matter of fact, the last time Josh Jacobs had 20 touches was against the Dallas Cowboys and their win. Isn't that crazy? I don't understand why you don't give your best player the ball. And you already know that the Raiders offense has struggled mightily because they don't have a lot of talent at wide receiver. So if you're Indianapolis, which their defense has been one of the hottest defenses in the game over the last 2 months, if you're Indianapolis, you're licking your chops, because if you can slow down Josh Jacobs, then this pretty much wraps, because there's nothing really that the Raiders can do when it comes to their passing attack, because their wide receivers simply aren't winning on the outside. Now, if Darren Waller comes back in this game, then that's going to help you out, but overall, the Raiders offense hasn't really been put in a situation where they are built to win a lot of shootouts. They have to be in close games, and they like to keep the games close. So if you're Indianapolis, you want to try to keep that offense off the field and keep that defense on the field, because you know that the Raiders offense probably going to have a couple of drives where they're probably not going to do that much with it. So every possession really matters if you are a Raiders fan, because you cannot afford a wasted possession when you play a team like Indianapolis. Anytime you play a team that likes to run the football the amount of times the Colts do, you have to make every possession count, because there's no telling when the next time you're going to get the ball. Say, for example, you're the Raiders and you get the ball on the opening kickoff and you don't really do nothing with it. And let's say, okay, you give the ball back to Indianapolis with 12 minutes left on the clock in the first quarter. You may not see the ball until, 2 minutes left in the first quarter. So you have to make every possession count when you play a team like Indianapolis that plays hard-nosed running football. Now, in terms of the playoff implications for this game, Indianapolis currently is the 5th seed in the AFC. They're trying to stay on place with the Tennessee Titans for the AFC South. The Raiders, on the other hand, are on the outside looking in of the playoff hunt. They need some help. And on top of that, you need the Chargers also to not really do anything. So if you end up winning this game, you can set yourself up for a situation where you play the LA Chargers next week, and it could be a win or go home situation. The team that I'm taking to win this game, I'm going to take the Indianapolis Colts, even if they have to start Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. I feel like Frank Reich, being the play caller that he is, being one of the best offensive minds in the league, is going to find a way to scheme up an offense that's built around the strengths of Sam Ehlinger. And you look at the Las Vegas Raiders, their defense hasn't really been the greatest when it comes to stop the run. Like, their defense hasn't been bad. It's been in the middle of the pack. I don't feel like they're going to be able to slow down Jonathan Taylor. On top of that, Indianapolis defense has been phenomenal. So if Indianapolis gets put in a game where this is a slugfest, it's a low-scoring affair, and it comes down to field position and relying on great defense, you feel really confident if you're a Colts fan about your defense being able to help you win this game, because the Raiders offense hasn't really had a lot of success over the last month when it comes to putting points on the board, which is why I'm going to take Indianapolis. I like Indianapolis defense. They played really well. I don't think the Raiders are going to have a lot of success offensively against this Colts defense. Give me Indianapolis. 17-13 is going to be my final score prediction in this matchup.